Good morning, everyone. This is Leah Dixon from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. Very sorry for popping on so late this morning. I have been having tech troubles since about 6 a.m. Hopefully my tech troubles from this morning don't occur. My camera was strobing with blue lights. It was very, very strange. So I'm hoping that today's video will be just fine and we won't have any strobing lights and I'll keep our connection. Technology is not my friend. So I'm just going to pop a little comment in here. So hopefully I'll be able to see your comments as you pop on and say hello. I love to chat with you guys while I stamp. So if you want to leave comments, I greatly appreciate that. It makes it a little bit less lonely. Today I'm going to be featuring another retiring set. This is an oldie but a goodie. This silhouette scenes and sweet silhouette dies. So I'm going to switch my camera view around so that you can see my desktop. There we go. And hi, Darlene. So these guys are absolutely gorgeous, and we're going to be working with them today to create a little card that is actually very, very similar to something that I'm going to be creating with my club this week. So I have a monthly stamping club, and we're going to do a technique here today that's very, very similar to something that I would do at club. So Darlene, you'll get a little sneak peek of what's coming up. In the comments, I've also put a link to all the information about my club. So if you'd like to join, we meet on the fourth Thursday of each month. Hi, Catherine. It is $35 a month, and in your sixth consecutive month, you earn $20 in host product. All right, so we're going to get started. We're going to move this stuff out of the way. We're going to start with the messy part, the technique part of today's card, so that we have time for it to dry before we move on to do other things. So what I've got here is a piece of just basic white cardstock cut at 4 by 5 1/4. We're actually going to trim this down a little bit more after we're done our messy part. And then I have my H block. So I'm not actually putting any stamps on there. We're just going to use the block as it is. And so with our H block, I've got 3 colors. Ooh, and I need to clean one of them up. It's got ink on the outside. I was playing around with this technique this morning, so that's probably how that happened. Yikes. All right. So you can always just use your chamois to clean up anywhere non-porous so that you get ink and you don't want it. All right, so that's all done. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our Mango Melody ink. I'm going to open this up all the way, and I'm going to stamp it directly onto about half my block. All right, so there we go. We've got some parts of this inked up. Now, oh, now I just realized, did I remember to turn off? Oh, good, I did. I remembered to turn off my volume so you guys aren't having any echoey feeds. Good. Now I'm taking my Melon Mambo and I'm going to kind of angle it so that I'm not getting the whole block inked and just moving slowly up my block. And then I will do 1 or 2 that overlap onto my Mango Melody. You can see it turned a bit orange. That's why I started with my Mango Melody. When you're going to do this and you're going to be mixing inks, you always want to start with your lighter one and work into the darker, because the Mango Melody that gets here onto my Melon Mambo ink pad won't make a difference when we're stamping. And then finally, we're going to take Gorgeous Grape, and I'm just tapping a little bit of that down at the bottom and not even really, like, barely overlapping it. So you can see we have mostly Mango Melody, then a bit of Melon Mambo, and then a tiny bit of Gorgeous Grape. You do really want to keep that that kind of ratio, because next thing we're going to do is get this wet and the colors will blend together and you'll end up with no Mango Melody if you don't use more of it than the other colors. All right, so now to get this wet, you can use just a regular spray bottle. I'm going to use one of our Stampin spritzers. Love these things. And I'm going to, oh, before I do that, I'm going to get a waterproof surface. And so my waterproof surface is a little bit of a cheat. It is just the packaging, so the cardboard and the plastic from some of our designer series paper. You want to make sure you're using the one that's got the harder cover, not the light peel away one. This is the like you can open it and close it. All right, so we're going to put this on here, and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 sprays. So not too much happening there. Okay, we don't want to overdo it with our water. Now I'm going to move that out of the way and bring our wet inked block in and press it down directly on my paper. I can see it didn't quite get this block wet enough in some spots. That's okay, because every one of these turns out differently. All right, so now because I'm not loving the fact that I have some white spots there, I'm just going to come in. I'm going to grab my block here. I'm going to come in with a water painter, and lift some color off of my block and come in and just fill in some of those spaces. Again, starting with my lighter color and then moving into my darker one. So it doesn't perfectly fix it, but it's not bad. All right, then we're just going to take Kleenex to clean off our brush. So just run it till it's clear. And then I can also use a Kleenex to just wipe that ink right off of my block so that I am ready to go to create another background if I want to. All right, and so it's that simple. We're ready to go to our next step. So that one I made look pretty easy. I'm going to show you some of my fails because when you first try this, you're probably going to fail, and that's okay. So here were some of my first attempts. This was me re-watering the block that I had used and stamping it again to get a different look. Now, these aren't going to make great cards, but what they are going to make is great pieces of paper to cut out letters with that playful alphabet, or even in this die set, we have the beautiful words. We have inspire, these are all, sorry, backwards, because inspire, forever, and adventure. So this is a great one for scrapbooking as well. But if you take this, pop that on there, and cut that out, you have an absolutely gorgeous watercolored word. You can put some adhesive sheet on the back of that, and off you go. So keep those watercolor fails. They are absolutely perfect for doing other things. Okay, and then I also had some fun here. This one, I got too much water, and so it did this funky little thing. That's kind of cool looking. Didn't want to use it for the card though, so I can again use that for words. And then I've got this really funky piece that I didn't re-water. I just like put it back down again because there was still so much water left on it. I can cut that out, like trim it up, make it a nice box, and then stamp some black words on there, and what a cool background. So all these fails are really just pieces I can use somewhere else for something else. So quite exciting, even when you think you've screwed it up. All right, so I'm going to set this one off to the side to dry, and I'm actually going to pull in one of my attempts from before that wasn't a fail. There we go. And we're going to work with this one because this one's dry. This one I have to let sit off to the side and dry, and that will take some time. So this really is, it's one of those cards that, or techniques that I often will just have a day where I sit and play with watercolors and create backgrounds, and I won't actually create cards, and then we'll get to the card making process. All right, so the next step in this card is to wrap some twine, that's the word for it, some twine around this piece. So, oh, actually, no, it's not. I'm sorry. I'm jumping the gun. All right, let's move that out of the way. We do need to do some die cutting first. So I've got some black paper here. I keep my paper like when I mount a piece of cardstock to do some die cutting with the adhesive backing on it. I do larger sheets and then I save it. That way I don't have to put adhesive on the back of a piece of paper every time I want to have a die cut with adhesive on the back. So, and then I just save these in a little container and I go grab the color I want. So I am going to be using this for some black today. And I'm going to come in here and get a little sneaky with how I run this between the words that were already cut out. I really do try and use up all the bits on this. So we're going to run this through our machine. I'm just going to see if this piece is small enough to go through my mini guy. No, not quite. All right, so I'm going to have to go grab my big machine, and we'll bring them over here and run them through. All right, so I don't know how much of this is going to end up on the screen because this guy's so big, but basically I'm putting him down on my plate, lining this up so that my whole thing is on my piece of cardstock that already has adhesive sheet on the back. And I'm going to run him through, and I'm actually going to run it both ways because this is a fairly intricate die. I want to make sure we get all those bits very clearly cut. Okay, so now we'll pull this up and off of our plate. I'm going to put those pieces away. And we will pull this off. So our die came off clean. Put that back on our magnet sheet so we don't lose it. And now, because this one is quite intricate, as you're pulling it out, I like to put my thumb across the main image and pull up. Less likely to rip any of those intricate little bits. So now this I'm going to put away because there's still lots of good pieces on here with the adhesive backing that I'll be able to use another day. Now, instead of starting to roll these all out or try and punch them all out, I am going to start actually by peeling my cardstock away from my my backing. And when you peel the cardstock away from the backing, what happens is most of those bits stay on the backing. And then we can toss that. And now I'll just grab a paper piercer and pop out the very few that remained. All right, now these are a bit harder to pop out than normal ones because they are adhesive backed. They do stick. And we don't want them stuck to the back of our image. All right, that's not bad. I only had 3 remaining that needed to be popped out. Okay, so then the trick is to get those off of your fingers. That can always be a bit of a challenge. All right, so we've got that part done. I'm going to come on here and stick this down so that it's partially on my background and partially on the white. And it sticks down so nicely, no fiddling around with fine-tipped glue or anything else like that. It's just stuck to our card base, all perfect. Okay, now I'm going to grab that twine that I wanted. And I'm going to come down here, right at the edge where my my fancy part here. Oh, sorry. Actually, I told you I was going to trim this, and I am. The reason I didn't trim it before I started is because sometimes when I'm putting this block down, I don't get it very straight, and then you can trim it and straighten it up at the same time. So let's see here. I want this to end up being 5 1/4. So 5 1/4. I'm going to actually turn my board around so you guys can see my 5 1/4 up here. So I'm not going to take the full 5 1/4 off of one end though. Oh, did I already have this down to 5? Right, I want this slightly less than 5 1/4. So I am going to take a little bit from each end though, so that I keep it even, just because I did manage to stamp this straight, which is unusual for me. All right, and then for this piece, I am going to take it down from 4 to 3 7/8, and I'll do that all in one shot off of the left-hand side. All right, so what that did is that trimmed it down so that we're going to be able to put it on a black mat that is 4 by 5 1/4. All right, so like I said, though, I didn't trim it down initially because if I hadn't stamped that straight, I'd be able to trim it down after the fact. So there we go. Okay, just softening up some of these edges. I find that my trimmer sometimes gives me some pretty harsh edges, and so I just run my thumb across them to soften them. All right, so we're going to take this twine now, and like I was saying, right at the edge where the paint and the white meet, we're going to hold it there, and I'm going to wrap this twice, and then grab some snips, and snip that off. And that's why I keep mine in a mason jar with that fun little lid. I just grabbed those at like Planet Organic or something, Palm I think they call it now. And yeah, so I think I've seen them at the dollar store as well. So that's how I like to keep my twine. And so I just tied a knot now, and I'm going to tie 2 little bunny ears to create a bow. So I make my 2 bunny ears, wrap them around each other, and there we go. All right, so while I am working on this, trying to fiddle with my bow, just wanted to let you know as well, I've put a reminder in today's post that the clearance rack refreshed this morning. So you want to hop on over there. There's awesome deals on some Christmas stuff, lots of designer series paper, and yeah, you're definitely going to want to check that out. All right, so we have our bow tied, and I'm now going to glue this onto my black mat that I created, my 4 by 5 1/4 black mat. And I do like to use my liquid glue. You guys know that about me, because I'm not great at lining things up. This gives me wiggle room. So I put that little bead of glue on there, and then I just spread it thin. And spread it thin. And when I get to the ribbon, I just stop and pick up and move along, or twine, because it's not ribbon. And it doesn't matter because the rest of this is going to have such a good hold. I don't need to have any adhesive where that twine is. All right, so now I come in here, and oh, it's a good thing I can wiggle this because that was not at all straight or centered. My goodness. All right, and sometimes even when I'm using liquid glue, I can't manage to get it straight. There we go. All right, and then because this has the twine on it, I just flip it upside down. I find it easier to rub it to help it adhere when it's upside down. Okay, so that is all adhered now. Oh, and then we're going to put this onto our card base, and we're using just a thick, basic white card base. Oh, that's a lot of glue. This is where being able to just spread it thinner really helps when you get too much glue onto your space. Just spread it thinner. There we go. All right, so I've got my thick Whisper White card base here, and this gets centered straight on it. All right, there we go. So that is done. All right. Oh, I see a few more of you have popped on here with me. If you want to say hi, I love to know who's watching. I think my comments are working today. I can see Catherine and Darlene already said hi. So yeah, there we go. Getting a little, I find sometimes this black paper has little bits that need to be swept away. Oops, come on. All right. So there we have our nice base done. Now we have a sentiment to add to this and a bit more kind of detailing on all that. So the next thing I'm going to do is, you guys know as well if you've been watching, oh hi Ruth, I'm trying to use up all of my scraps. Hi Shirley. So this is another scrap from my giant bin of 1/2 inch scraps, and I'm just going to come down to like on the bottom of my paper here, you guys can't see it really, I have the measurements, like the inches on here. So I'm just going to come down here and use my paper snips, and I just snipped that at 3.5. So now I have another one that's close to 3.5 as well to put back into my bin. So I just snipped that at 3.5, and then I'm going to grab my favorite punch, my tailored tag punch, which thank goodness is not retiring. And I'm going to come in here and create a double banner. There we go. So that is truly my favorite punch. Someday I'll use it as the actual tailored tag. But really, I love it for snipping and making these awesome fast banners. So I'm going to apply that there. I'm going to use dimensionals, but because it's black, I don't want my dimensionals to show, so I'm going to use black dimensionals. These are a product that are part of our regular lineup, but they're a little bit hidden because even, they have the white backing, which I actually kind of like too because it makes it easier to see if you've removed the backing or not. Because once you remove that backing, you can see that these dimensionals are completely black. These are great when creating like Halloween cards too, where you really don't want any glimpses of anything light or bright. So I'm going to pop in here and use this to cover up most of that twine and just leave our little bow here at the end peeking out between the little fork in our banner. All right, so we've got our banner on there. I don't think that went on very straight, but oh well. We will be covering that up anyways, because now I'm going to grab another scrap of paper. I'm really into this whole use up my scraps thing. So literally a scrap of paper. And I've grabbed the sentiment, "Go confidently in the direction of your dreams," which is a quote from Thoreau. I have to create a bunch of grad cards, and I have one grad stamp. It's a little tiny grad cap, and really I have nothing grad-like. So I've been trying to get creative and like, what else could I do for a grad that isn't, really graddy? So that's where this sentiment comes into play. It's perfect. And I just stamped that in Gorgeous Grape, which is one of the colors we use to create our fun background as well. And now I'm going to fussy cut this. I love how it's kind of like a stair step thing. So I didn't want to lose that by putting it onto just a plain old piece of white paper. So to do this, you can come in here and draw lines on with a pencil if you want, or you can just wing it like I'm going to. And I'm just going to try to keep a similar distance. I'm going to try to round both my inner and outer corners as I do this. I got a little bit closer than I had wanted. That's okay. That's where using pencil lines would have helped. I would have been able to keep a more consistent distance. But that's all right. It's all just crafting. So here we go. Few more rounded corners here. And I'm literally just cutting around the outside of all of these words. A little one and a little bit more. And voila. All right, so we have our words all fussy cut out. And we're going to put these onto our card just like that. So I'm going to use one dimensional for the top of this sentiment. So right up here, as high up as I can go, I'm going to use a dimensional. And then I'm going to use some mini glue dots for the base. So I just open up my roll, find my mini glue dot, and I press down. And I'm going to do one more kind of center-ish and press down. So there we go. I've got 2 mini glue dots on there and a dimensional. Peel that off, and then I'm going to put this on. I'm kind of letting myself feel where my dimensional is, and my dimensional is stopping me from going any further down. So I want my dimensional fully on the white base. Okay, so now my words are there. I'm going to add one last embellishment. These ones I am sad to see going. It is the frosted and clear epoxy droplets. And they come in two sizes, well, together in the one package, the bigger ones and the smaller ones. And I actually wonder what this would look like if I put one in the center. Oh, I like that. So we're going to put one of the larger ones in the center of our dandelion. And then I am going to actually maybe put one up there. Use some of the smaller ones down here. And I feel like maybe I need one more on here somewhere. Maybe one more down here. No, because 4, that'll make it weird. Nope, I'm going to keep it to 3, even though one of them's in the center of my flower. All right, so there are my, do I want to? Maybe I'll add 2 more. I'll really go crazy with the embellishments. So I'm going to add, let's see, I'm going to create like a triangle up here. Oh, come on. Triangle up there, and like a triangle down here. So lots of them on here, spread out all over. Okay, so there you have it. That is our finished card. So a fun little background, some gorgeous embellishments. I love those droplets, and the nice little sentiment. So that is our card and our technique for today. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm just going to switch over here and switch my screen again. All right. So thank you so much for joining me. I love doing these videos on Tuesday mornings with you guys. And yeah, definitely go check out our Last Chance products. So these silhouettes are from our Last Chance line. And there's a ton of stuff. There's also, I haven't mentioned it as much. I think I made a post yesterday though about it. There's also a ton of sets that are not retiring, but the bundle pricing is going to go away. So if you've had an eye on a bundle, so that's a stamp set and die set that coordinate, or a stamp set and punch that coordinate, they only keep their 10% discount for the first year that they're in our catalog. So when we switch over to this second catalog, like the new annual catalog in May, anything that was in the old annual catalog at a 10% discount will no longer have that discount. So there's a ton of stuff that you're going to want to go see. And if you go to the Stampin' Up website, so you can follow my link there, leahdixon.stampinup.net, and click shop, there will actually be a button there that allows you to go to just the Last Chance products or just the clearance rack. Go check that out. It shows you if it's retiring or if it's just got the bundle saving that you're going to lose. And check those out, because there's nothing worse than buying a bundle a month late and not getting that 10% discount. So yeah, check it out. And yeah, if you liked today's card, this is the kind of thing that we're going to be doing at this month's club. For this month's club, because it is only like a week and a half away, you would have to be somebody local to me for me to be able to get the kit to you on time. But otherwise, feel free to sign up and begin in May. And yeah, you just need to live in Canada to be able to join my club. So yeah, that's about everything. I don't think I've forgotten anything. Oh, right. I had 4 of my must-get items from the clearance rack. The 4 things that I added to my personal shopping list. The Plaid Tidings Designer Series paper. It's all those gorgeous autumn colors, the pinks, oranges, browns, really, really beautiful Plaid Designer Series paper. The Feels Like Frost Designer Series paper is in there. That's the one that had like the photo realistic pictures of frost and like pine needles with frost on it and stuff like that. Some gorgeous backgrounds, especially if you're stamping with the any of our nature sets. The Advent calendar is in there for like half price. It's $24. It was originally $41. And it comes with everything you need to put it together. They're fabulous. I got one for each of my kids. And the adhesive back snowflakes. I love anything adhesive backed, but those snowflakes were adorable. So yeah, check it out. All right, see you guys on Tuesday.